Narcissism, a complex personality trait often associated with an inflated sense of self-importance and a deep need for admiration, is frequently accompanied by a striking lack of empathy. This absence of empathy is one of the most defining and troubling characteristics of narcissistic individuals, affecting their relationships, decision-making, and overall behaviour. In this video, we'll explore the intricate relationship between narcissism and lack of empathy. We'll delve into how this trait manifests in different aspects of life and discuss the impact it has on those who interact with narcissists. I'm Jo Banks. I've been a professional executive business coach for 15 years, and I'm sharing what I know. The role of empathy in human interaction. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. It plays a crucial role in forming healthy relationships, fostering cooperation, and creating a sense of community. There are two main types of empathy. Number one, cognitive empathy. The ability to understand another person's perspective or mental state. It involves intellectual awareness of someone else's emotions without necessarily feeling them yourself. Number two, emotional empathy. The capacity to physically feel what another person is experiencing emotionally. This type of empathy allows for a deeper connection and compassion. Empathy is what allows us to comfort a grieving friend, celebrate someone else's success, and engage in acts of kindness. It is foundational to moral and ethical behaviour, guiding us in treating others with respect and care. Narcissism and a lack of empathy. The disconnect. Narcissists, particularly those with diagnosed narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, often exhibit a profound lack of empathy. It's actually one of the most identifying traits of somebody with narcissism. This deficiency is not merely an absence of emotional understanding, but it can manifest as an active disregard for the feelings and needs of others. Several factors contribute to this disconnection. Number one, self-absorption. Narcissists are intensely self-focused. Their thoughts and behaviours revolve around their own needs, desires, and self-image. This self-absorption leaves little room for considering the perspectives or feelings of others. When they are aware of another person's emotions, they may dismiss them as unimportant or irrelevant compared to their own concerns. Number two, emotional inaccessibility. Many narcissists struggle with emotional depth. They often avoid vulnerability and emotional intimacy because these experiences could expose them to feelings of inadequacy or weakness. As a result, they may shut down emotionally when confronted with someone else's pain or joy, making it difficult for them to connect on a meaningful level. Number three, exploitative relationships. Narcissists often view relationships as transactional rather than reciprocal. They seek out connections that can enhance their self-esteem, status, or resources, and they tend to discard people once they no longer serve these purposes. This exploitative mindset makes empathy unnecessary, as the focus is on what the narcissist can gain rather than how they can support or care for others. Number four, defense mechanisms. Some narcissists use a lack of empathy as a defense mechanism to protect their fragile self-esteem. Acknowledging the emotions of others might require them to confront their own flaws or shortcomings, something they are often unwilling to do. By ignoring or dismissing other people's feelings, they can maintain their illusion of superiority and invulnerability. I think it's really important to note here that while people with narcissistic traits are not empathetic, they can mimic it. This is especially evident at the beginning of a narcissistic relationship during what we call the love bombing phase. They don't want to be seen as callous and are highly driven by manipulation. So it serves their ultimate purpose during that love bombing phase if they can demonstrate empathy, which can be particularly confusing for victims when they later show their true personality during the devaluation phase. They can never hide it for long. I've done a video on the narcissistic abuse cycle from a workplace perspective, which includes love bombing, devaluation, discard, and hoover. Really interesting stuff if you want to know more about the abuse cycle. The link will be below. Manifestations of narcissistic lack of empathy. Narcissistic lack of empathy can manifest in various ways, depending on the context and the relationship. Here are some common scenarios where these traits become evident. Number 1, workplace relationships. In professional settings, a narcissist's lack of empathy can create a toxic work environment. Narcissistic managers or colleagues may take credit for others' work. A narcissistic colleague may steal ideas or take credit for the hard work of others without any consideration for how this might affect their co-workers. They might ignore team needs. Narcissistic leaders often prioritize their own agenda over the needs for the team. They make decisions that benefit themselves at the expense of team morale, productivity, or job satisfaction. They may exploit co-workers. Narcissists in the workplace may use others to advance their own careers without any regard for the well-being or professional growth of their colleagues. This behaviour can lead to a demoralised and disengaged workforce where employees feel undervalued, unappreciated, and stressed. Number 2, romantic relationships. In romantic relationships, a narcissist's lack of empathy can lead to emotional neglect, manipulation, and even abuse. They may dismiss their partner's feelings. Narcissists often trivialize their partner's emotions, making them feel as though their feelings are unimportant or even irrational. This can leave the partner feeling invalidated and alone. They may engage in gaslighting. Narcissists may use gaslighting, which is a form of psychological manipulation, to make their partner doubt their own feelings and perceptions. By denying or distorting the truth, the narcissist can maintain control and avoid accountability. Again, I've done an entire video on gaslighting. The link will be below. They may prioritize, in fact, they're always going to prioritize their own needs. In a narcissistic relationship, the narcissist's needs always come first. They may expect their partner to cater to their demands without reciprocating the same level of care and attention. This lack of empathy often results in a one-sided relationship where the non-narcissistic partner feels used, unloved, and emotionally drained. Number 3, family dynamics. In family settings, a narcissistic parent or sibling may demonstrate a lack of empathy through favoritism, manipulation, and control. Common behaviours include favoritism. A narcissistic parent may favour one child over another based on which child best reflects their idealised self-image or provides them with the most validation. This can create a toxic environment of competition and resentment amongst siblings. There's likely to be emotional neglect. Narcissistic parents may be emotionally unavailable, ignoring or invalidating their children's need for affection, support, and understanding. They may also downplay their children's achievements or struggles if they don't align with their own expectations. There's likely to be control and manipulation. Narcissists often use guilt, shame, or fear to control family members. They may manipulate their children into making choices that serve the parent's interest rather than the child's well-being, and this can be adult children too. The lack of empathy in these relationships can lead to long-lasting emotional scars, affecting the adult child's self-esteem, mental health, and future relationships. Impact on victims. The lack of empathy exhibited by narcissists can have profound effects on those around them. Victims of narcissistic relationships, whether romantic, familial, or professional, often experience, number one, emotional pain. Being in a relationship with a narcissist can lead to feelings of loneliness, sadness, and confusion. Confusion for me is a huge red flag. If I meet someone or I'm talking to somebody and I see a lack of empathy and I feel confused, that's a red flag for me. Victims may feel that their emotions are not valid or that they're being unfairly criticised or ignored. Number two, erosion of self-esteem. Constant belittlement, criticism, or emotional neglect can lead to a significant decline in self-esteem. Victims may start to believe that they're unworthy of love, respect, or success. Number three, mental health issues. Prolonged exposure to a narcissist's lack of empathy often contributes to mental health problems such as anxiety, depression, and even post-traumatic stress disorder. In adult children of emotionally immature parents or narcissistic parents, we often see complex PTSD. I'm sure I'll do a video on that in the near future. Isolation. Narcissists often isolate their victims from friends, family, or other co-workers, making it harder for them to seek support or escape the toxic relationship. Coping strategies. Dealing with a narcissist's lack of empathy can be challenging, but there are strategies you can employ to protect yourself. Number one, go no contact. Going no contact is the number one strategy for dealing with a narcissist. If possible, cut all contact with them. Block their number and email address, block them on all social media platforms. Often, completely cutting all contact with the narcissist is the only way to deal with it. However, that's not always possible, in which case the number two technique is to go grey rock. With this tool, you literally behave as a grey rock would. Inanimate. You don't answer back, you don't argue, you simply be. You only deal with facts and never let yourself get drawn into the narcissist drama. In order to do this effectively, you have to establish clear and firm boundaries. This might involve limiting your interactions or refusing to engage in conversations that are emotionally harmful. I've got an entire video on the grey rock technique. I'll leave that below. Number three, seek support. Surround yourself with supportive colleagues, friends, or family members. One of the alarming tactics of a narcissist is to separate and isolate you from the people who care about you. Their aim in doing this is twofold. Number one, you're more vulnerable when you don't have support and they can manipulate you more. And number two, friends and family will be able to see through their behaviour even if you can't. That potentially means a loss of control to them and they can't have that. Number four, don't take it personally. And I realise this is really easy to say, but harder to do in reality. However, I think the number one thing that's helped me heal from narcissistic relationships is knowing that their behaviour is a reflection of their own insecurities and lack of emotional maturity. It is in no way a reflection of my worth. Number five, consider professional help. If the narcissistic relationship is causing significant harm, it might be necessary to seek professional support. I work closely both with private clients and those referred from organisations to help those people recognise, deal with, and recover from narcissistic bullying, whether that's in a professional, social, familial, or personal relationship. If you'd like to learn more, please reach out. I'll leave the contact details below. Number six, practice self-care. Prioritizing your own well-being by engaging in activities that bring you joy, relaxation, and fulfillment are critical. These can help you build resilience against the emotional toll of dealing with a narcissist. The wrap-up. Narcissism and the lack of empathy are closely intertwined, creating a personality that's often incapable of forming deep, meaningful connections with others. If you find yourself in a relationship with a narcissist in whatever context, this emotional disconnect can have devastating effects on you, often leading to feelings of pain, confusion, and isolation. Understanding the dynamics of narcissism and the lack of empathy can empower you to protect yourself and make informed decisions about your relationships. While you absolutely cannot change a narcissist's behaviour, you can take steps to safeguard your emotional health and build a life filled with genuine, empathetic connections. What next? If you have any ideas for topics you'd like me to cover in upcoming videos, please leave them in the comments section below. I read and respond to everything and really love interacting with you all. I'm currently recording a series of videos that delve more deeply into the common traits of narcissistic behaviour, so make sure you like, comment, subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss a thing. Finally, thank you to everybody who stays until the very end, and thank you so much for all of your support. It really does mean the absolute world to me. Thank you.